Howdy Space Rangers, Captain Phoenix here, and before we start this video I just want to say real quick that because Universal is very strict with whatever clips I can use, and very pearl clutching in a sense with what can be shared on YouTube and out there, most of the clips for this review will come from various YouTube channels. So I will link all of them down in the description below. I can't name all of them right now because I'm picking clips from like 4 channels at this point, and that's a lot of content creators to keep track of. However, I just want you to know that I appreciate all of these content creators for all they've done, and as I said, I will link them down in the description below. But I said sorry for not mentioning them in the video personally. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the video itself. So guys, today we are talking about Jurassic World Chaos series and my love for this series. I haven't talked much about it on the channel since the show started airing last year, but I did talk about its predecessor show, Camp Cretaceous, quite a lot on this channel as well. I think it's the only show other than Kipo, Kid Cosmic, and Ninjago that I've covered in its entirety, so it's definitely up there with the big 5, Captain Phoenix accomplishments. But yeah, since Chaos series released its third and newest season last week, I figured what better time than to talk about my love for the series than now in this review where I talk about season 3, but I'll be talking about the rest of the series as well. So yeah, even though season 3 is going to be the main focus of this video, in reality I will be talking about the whole show so far before season 4, which from what I've heard is going to be the final season. So without further ado, let's get into it. Right off the bat, let's discuss the best part of the show, that being the world building. Ever since the release of Fallen Kingdom, I've always been interested in the Jurassic movies tackling the concept of dinosaurs out free in the modern world, not just the park. Actually giving us the title of the new era being A Jurassic World. Sadly, Fallen Kingdom and later Dominion clickbaited us and failed to deliver, only giving us snippets of this idea. Chaos Theory said screw you guys and actually tried something different that finally gave the franchise new life it hasn't seen since the first movie, maybe the second. Here, the show takes place 4 years after Fallen Kingdom, so right before Dominion, and we get to see how humanity, specifically the States, have adapted to dinosaurs. We then go to Africa where, despite not being a continent with many dinosaurs in canon, also adapts to them quickly, such as the Mbalos who use the Stegosauruses for protection. However, all this praise is where I'd have my first issue with Season 3, as Season 3 is essentially forced to remove what made this show cool and unique to begin with. Because of the canon, there aren't supposed to be dinos in other parts of the world. Therefore, the newest season, set in Italy, is forced to have a smaller roster of them, and we really only get one antagonist dinosaur this time around, that being the Pyroraptor. Don't get me wrong, it's cool, but they spend too much time setting it up and having the same repetitive interactions with it. The good news with this though is that it's most likely a hiccup. Season 4 is gonna put us in a valley, specifically Biosyn Valley. So yeah, there'll be less modern world shenanigans, but we'll hopefully get more dinos. The Therizinosaurus and Giganotosaurus being the obvious picks. However, since the next season will tie in with Dominion's ending and will most likely be the finale season, it's very likely that we'll not get any more modern world adaptations with the dinosaurs afterwards, which is very much a bummer since Rebirth isn't gonna pick that up based off the concept we have so far. That alone is a rant fit for a whole other video, which I kind of touched on in my Rebirth reaction video, link to the card is up on the screen, but as said, it's a discussion for another day. The animation in this series is also a huge step up from Camp Cretaceous. The textures look more real and refined without the character designs feeling cheap. Though it becomes apparent that they do reuse a lot of the models in the later seasons, but still, just look at these two clips side by side and tell me you don't see a difference. This is Camp Cretaceous, and this is Chaos Theory. Glow up of the century, right here. However, even with the bigger budget and higher age rating, we still don't have any on-screen kills of characters. This will always be a bummer though, as this series is directed at kids, so I can easily overlook it, but I thought I'd make mention of it anyway. I also want to appreciate the pacing of the show. Each season feels like its own complete theme, and that translates well here, especially with the character arcs that I'll get on in just a bit. Though, to give the Glaze Fest a pause, let's talk about some of the issues I've had with the series as a whole, particularly a problem I've had with each season so far. Season 1, I didn't like Brooklyn actually being alive and the reveal being done at the last second. I feel like it detracted from the heavy tone of the series and made everything feel consequence-less. Is that even a word? Less consequence-free, I guess? Like, how are you going to show us everyone being affected by Brooklyn's death only to pull the rug out from under us and say that it doesn't matter? My main problem with Season 2 is that they made Darius, my personal favorite character, sidelined and lame. They straight up just did not know what to do with him. And finally, for Season 3, I didn't like how tensionless and lacking in dinos it was, especially when you compare just how much ground Season 1 and 2 covered in comparison to it. Alright, let's talk characters. So Yona is the best villain aside from Daniel Khan that the series has given us. She's smart, ruthless, and kind of a baddie. Though this is weirdly one of the few times where I prefer a live action version of the character over the animated one, in terms of looks at least. She isn't perfect though. There are a lot of moments where she should have exposed Brooklyn, but just didn't. Like, chick, there is clearly an egg missing. You looked it over an hour ago. You are seeing Brooklyn talking to the other guys outside the window. What are you doing? The main characters are all interesting and complicated this time around. Ben, the local Redditor, got the glow up of the century along with a hot Italian girlfriend. Darius is more capable as a leader and has good drama with Kenji. And Sammy and Yaz are in a bloody telenovela. They clearly have a lot of baggage that the show only lightly touches, so I'll do the same here as that will just be a whole other video. And then we have Brooklyn, who, as much as I didn't like the fact that she was alive at first, does get some good screen time in Season 2. Though Season 3 treats some of the stuff she does like a joke, but more on that later. And we finally have Kenji, who I think is the only one who is a bit too extra. Every season, he seems to adopt some new mood that makes him annoying and unapproachable. And while he's not the worst in the newest season, it is kind of getting old. This man has been traumatized to hell and back, and much like the girls not named Brooklyn, the show refuses to dive into it. Back to Brooklyn, I absolutely hate this scene. Okay, I can't play the clip, but the clip is of Brooklyn putting this guy Darby in a cage with raptors, and then him saying Brooklyn has sold her soul. I absolutely hate this scene, and the fact that this show had the balls to think it could trick us into thinking that Brooklyn was turning evil this late in the game. It's nothing short of hilarious. She's supposed to appear evil to the other main characters, not the audience. Not even little kids would fall for this crap. I could rant a little bit about how this show doesn't understand what an undercover operation is, but given that Camp Cretaceous did this plotline as well, I'll let the series speak for itself.
Look, Kenji, I know you're still upset with me, but it's not cool.
Ben, shut up. Darius, what was that?
Wow. Okay, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
Hey, no, look, okay, no, seriously, Ben? Shut up.
My last criticism of this show is the dumb love triangle between Kenji, Darius, and Brooklyn. I normally don't talk about shipping and relationships much on this channel because A, I don't really care, and B, other creators, sarcastic chorus, know how to handle these topics better than me. But I swear to God, the love triangle in this show has gotten so big and annoying that it could genuinely harm the quality of the story of the show if they get it wrong. Like, there's a scene in here where Kenji basically gives Darius his blessing to go after Brooklyn. What are we doing here? Anyway, I'm planning on making a full video on my thoughts about this once the show wraps up, but just know that I hate the ship wars this love triangle has created, and I do not want to see Darius and Brooklyn get together. The only way I will be happy with the resolution of this arc is if everyone involved breaks up and no one gets together. But since this is a character-driven show aimed at kids, I have a feeling that ain't gonna happen. See y'all when Season 4 drops and I'm inevitably mad. Overall, I consider Chaos Theory to be the best Jurassic Park content since the first movie, and I am so sad other projects like Rebirth will disregard its existence. This show continues to prove to me that animation is a superior form of media, and that you can not only tell great stories with it, but even redeem bad ones. My ratings for the seasons are as follows. Season 1 is a 9 out of 10, Season 2 is an 8, and Season 3 is a low 7. It's definitely the weakest of the three so far. Hopefully Season 4 picks things up and ends this show off on a banger. I am dead serious when I say I consider this show to be one of the best cartoons of the 2020s, so trust me when I say I really want it to do well. Anyways guys, that's gonna be all from me today. Tell me, what do you guys think? Am I glazing this show too hard, or is it just what Jurassic Park fans need before the new movie? What are your thoughts on the love triangle? What do you think of the show in general? Let me know down in the comments below, and as always, let's have a discussion. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Be sure to like if you like, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the notification bell to be part of the team, leave a comment down below, slap a cow, and with that, I will see you in another universe. Goodbye, my Rangers.